Match the following. Emphysema. It is 2. Damaged alveolar walls and decrease the respiratory surface. Next. Angina pectoris. It will be like 3. Acute chest pain when not enough oxygen is reaching to the heart muscle. It is angina pectoris. Glomerulonephritis. It is inflammation of glomeruli of kidney. Glomerulus or glomeruli of kidney. 4. Tetany. Rapid spasms in muscle due to low calcium in body fluids. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. It is option 4. You can see here. This is from respiratory breathing and exchange of gases, emphysema. Here this is angina pectoris about from circulation chapter related to heart. Renal calculi or glomerulus nephritis, it will from excretion, kidneys. Tetanus, arthritis and osteoporosis is from the chapter locomotion and movements related to bones. These disorders are very much important. Every year these disorders compulsory from human anatomy disorders will be asked. So by heart these disorders compulsory from all the chapters of human physiology. Assertion and reason and type. Here both wind and water pollinated flowers are not very colorful, do not produce nectar. Yes, it is correct. Assertion is correct. The wind and water pollinated flowers are not colorful. The petals are not much colorful and they do not produce nectar. The nectar is produced in insect pollinated plants or another pollinated insected animal type plants, but in wind and water the nectar is not produced. Now reason. The flowers produce enormous amount, means large amount of pollen grains in wind and water pollinated flowers. It means large amount because in wind and water pollinations the pollen grains reaching the stigma is very less chance factor. So to compensate this, these flowers release large number of pollen grains to compare to the number of ovules actually present. And reason is also correct because large amount of pollen grains are released in these wind and water plants, but both are correct. So it could be option 1, but here reason is not correct explanation to the assertion, because what the assertion was telling here, the both water and wind pollinated are not colorful, do not produce nectar, but the reason is talking about another point. So let's make it answer 2. Both A and assertion and reason are correct. A and R are correct, true, but reason is not correct explanation of A. The reason should be why it is not colorful, why it is not produced nectar, but here the reason is completely different statement. So it is not correct explanation of assertion. You can see here the lines which taken from chapter named sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Which of the following is an example of non-distilled alcoholic beverages produced by yeast? Okay, he was asking about non-distilled, not distilled, non-distilled. The answer is option 3, beer. The only thing we can remember is, let's see the trick here. These are the products, beverages, which are given in our chapter. Here, the 4-letter words wine and beer, 4-letter 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see here the 4-letter 2 words are non-distilled. Remaining anything except the 4 letters, this 5-letter word or 6-letter word or 3-letter word, whiskey, brandy, rum, these are distilled, these are obtained from distilled. Okay, only the wine and beer are non-distilled. The trick is 4-letter beverages are non-distilled. Even next year or the upcoming year, it may be asked in any other thing like statement type and assertion type. What are the distilled beverages and non-distilled beverages? 4-letter, simple 4-letter. The trick is 4-letter beverages means wine, beer are non-distilled. Simple. So it will be option 3, beer. Remaining this is distilled, non-distilled. From chapter microbes in human welfare, you can read here. And yeast, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, here with or without distillation. The wine and beer are produced without distillation, where whiskey, brandy, rum other than 4-letter words are produced by distillation of fermented broth. Okay, these are the photographs, fermenters. You may be seen in the movies. Statement type questions. Statement 1. In floral formula, this symbol stands for zygomorphic nature of the flower, and here the G and downside the bar stands for inferior ovary. Sorry, it is wrong, because this symbol represents actimorphic nature or radial symmetry, and this one is not inferior, it is superior one. Next statement 2. In a floral flower, this symbol stands for actimorphic nature. Yes, correct. And this G dash downside the bar stands for superior ovary. It is correct. So statement 1 is incorrect, statement 2 is correct. So option is, yeah, fourth option. Here see this circle and the plus, this stands for actimorphic. Okay, where the percentage type symbol, this is zygomorphic. Remember this. And actimorphic always represents the radial symmetry, where zygomorphic represents bilateral symmetry. Okay, this is from the chapter known as morphology. Chapter 4 from class 11. Here see inferior ovary and superior ovary also. If this represents, G represents gynoecium. If the bar represents upper side, it means the gynoecium is inferior. In case the gynoecium G and the bar represents downside, it means the gynoecium is upper, it is superior. Okay, if the bar is downside, it is superior. If the bar is upper side, and it is inferior. And in the same way, you already learned about zygomorphic, actimorphic. Streptokinase produced by bacterium Streptococcus is used for. Answer is option 4, removing clots from blood vessels. This is from the chapter known as microbes in human welfare, class 12 biology. Okay, here NCERT line, you can see the NCERT topic and line is, the question is from here. Streptokinase produced by the bacterium Streptococcus and modified by genetic engineering used as a clot buster for removing clots from the blood vessels of the patients who have undergone myocardial infarction leading to heart attack. So the Streptococcus is used for clot buster. Guys, this para is very much important. every year it will be at least 4 marks you can get from here. At least every year 4 marks pakka. So just by heart this para. Every important, every para is very important. You can ask every bit here: Clostrobacterium, Butycilium and yeast, and about Lostia pectinaceus, clarified bottle juices, Cyclosporin A. This para is very important. Microbes chapter is damn sure up to 8 marks or more than 8 marks every year. It is so confusing. You must read it very carefully, by heart it. Which chromosome in the human genome has the highest number of genes? This is from the chapter known as molecular basis, and the answer could be chromosome 1. Open your textbooks, NCERT, molecular basis human genome project. You can see here silent features of human genome. The point 8 is the question. The chromosome 1 has most genes, 2968 genes in the chromosome 1, and the Y chromosome has least, very few, 231. So answer could be option 3, chromosome 1 is the highest number of genes in the human genome. If in case the question asked least number of genes, the answer could be chromosome Y. Okay, because it having only 231. The highest would be chromosome 1 as per our question, and the least. And here X and Y are autosomes. Okay, least will be the chromosome Y, highest will be the our answer chromosome 1, 2968. Which of the following statement is correct about location of male frog copulatory pads? Location of male frog copulatory pads. Option is answer 4, first digits of the forelimb. Here, in this region, you can find the copulatory pads in male frog. You can see the NCERT line where the question is taken from. Here, this you can see, right? These are the copulatory pads or nuptial pads. This is present in the male frog. This is used in the time of copulation. You can see the NCERT line, and it is option 4, first digits of the forelimb. It is not hind limb, it is forelimb on the front side hand. Which one of the following phytohormones promotes nutrition mobilization which helps in delay of leaf senescence in plants? Majority of them are marked abscisic acid in this exam, but the real answer is option 4, cytokinin. You can see the NCERT, direct line from the NCERT. Chapter name, plant growth and development, from plant physiology. Here the last line, they promote nutrition mobilization and which helps in delay of leaf senescence. Okay, then mobilize the nutrients which helps in delay of leaf senescence. Direct line, direct question, but majority of them are marked abscisic acid near our area. But the answer is cytokinin, option 4. Every year from oxygens, gibberellins, cytokinesins, ethylene, abscisic acid, at least one question will be asked completely. One question asked compulsory, 4 marks. So in plant growth regulators, damn sure 4 marks. By heart them. Read every line thoroughly. Plant growth regulators are very much important. Plus 4, damn sure one question. While trying to find out the characteristic of a newly found animal, a researcher did the histology of adult animal and observed a cavity with presence of mesodermal tissue. Guys, mesodermal means middle tissue. We have ecto, endo. Ecto means outer side. Endo means inner side. The layer which present in between ecto and endo, it will be like meso, middle layer towards the body wall, but no mesodermal tissue was observed towards the alimentary canal. It means it is incomplete one. Okay, it is present towards the body wall but not present in alimentary canal. What could be the possible coelom of the animal? And the answer will be option 2, spudocielomates, because open your NCERT class 11 animal kingdom chapter. You can see here coeloms. In coeloms, such body cavity is called spudo. Yeah. In some animals, the body cavity is not lined by mesoderm. Instead of mesoderm is present is scattered pouches between the ecto and endoderms. Such body cavity is known as spudo. Actually, the word spudo means maybe incomplete, intermediate, or false. The many words represent are fake type. The animal possessing them are called spudocielomates. Example, Aschelominthes. In certain animals, the body cavity is not fully lined by mesoderm. Instead of mesoderm, they exist as scattered pouches. You can see here. Between the ectoderm and endoderm. Generally, the mesoderm lines only the body wall. It presents next to the ectoderm. Does not surrounded by the alimentary canal. Example is Aschelominthes. So, option is 2, B or 2, spudocielomates is the answer. Here, matching. This is from human reproduction from class 12 NCERT direct question is here. Head. Here, head. It means the head piece carries a genetic material. You can see here. Head, it carries the genetic material, nucleus containing chromosomal material. So, it is 4. Middle piece. The middle piece containing mitochondria, it is the energy source for swimming. So, it is 3. Acrosomes. It is a fluid one. Actually, the acrosome contains some enzymes which helps in the fertilization of ovum. Actually, it helps in diffusing the layer of the ovum. So, it is an enzyme. 1. Next, tail. Obviously, it is 2. Sperm motility. The tail in the sperm helps in the motility. Here, see here. So, the head carries the genetic material, nucleus, middle piece having the mitochondria, so it produces energy. 3. Acrosome is the enzyme which helps in diffusing a layer in the ovum, so it is enzyme. Tail piece, it helps in sperm motility. 4, 3, 1, 2. 4, 3, 1, 2. Option 1 is the answer. You can see here. You can read this. Structure of sperm, head, plasma membrane, acrosomes, this head containing the nucleus, the middle piece, mitochondria, which gives the energy to the sperm. Here the tail. This is from the chapter known as human reproduction, class 12. Given below are the stages in the life cycles of pteridophytes. Arrange the following stages in the correct sequence. To arrange this sequence in the correct manner, you have to know the NCERT line to line in detail. Every sequence, every event in the pteridophytes. So, guys, open your NCERT class 11 plant kingdom chapter. Read this thoroughly, very line to line. Next, we come to here. Let's see this first. Let's arrange this in the correct sequence. First, meiosis in spore mother cell. Here, pteridophyte, the main plant body is sporophyte. Okay, it is differentiated into true roots and stem leaves. The sporophytes have leaf-like appendages called sporophylls and all. The spores, the meiosis in spore mother cells. The meiosis in spore mother cells is the first event according to this. Next, it is the spore germinate to give rise to small but multicellular free living photosynthetic thalloid gametophyte called prothallus. Okay, photosynthetic free living thalloid gametophyte known as prothallus. So it is spore mother cell to prothallus, second stage A. So next, the prothallus stage to formation of archegonia. Prothallus free living gametocytes to formation of archegonia and antheridia in gametophyte. Okay, this is represented like female one. Here antheridia is like male. Okay, so D, meiosis in spore mother cell give rise to prothallus stage in free living gametophyte to formation of archegonia and antheridia in gametophyte. Next, these maturations of archegonia and antheridia leads to transfer of antherozoids, nothing but male gametophytes, to archegonia like female gametes in presence of water. The fertilization type process, a pollination type process requires water here. Okay, so E. Next, obviously the male goes to female. The next process is fertilization. So B, A, D, E, C. Option 1 is the answer. Option 1. First, spore mother cell to prothallus stage. The prothallus stage of free living gametophyte to formation of archegonia and antheridia in the gametophyte. Next, transfer of antheridia to archegonia in presence of water. It leads to fertilization, obviously. So this process is very much important. You must read line to line NCERT. Cardiac activities of the heart are regulated by A. Nodal tissue. B. A special neural center in the medulla oblongata. C. Adrenal medullary hormones. D. Adrenal cortical hormones. Choose the correct answer from the options given below. And the answer is A, B and C only. Here, the nodal tissue. The cardiac activities are regulated by sinoatrial node and arterioventricular node, and even by bundle of Purkinje fibers. And the special neural center, a special tissue in the medulla oblongata, also regulate the activity of the heart. And even adrenaline and non-adrenaline, which is released by the medullary hormones of the kidney, is also regulate the activities of the heart, cardiac activities of the heart. So A, B, C are the answers. The cortical is actually related to the glucocorticoids, mineralocorticoids in the kidney. It is not related to heart. Okay, so it is not regulated by any cardiac activities. It cannot be regulated. So A, B, C are the only options. You can see here the cardiac activities of heart regulated by nodal tissue, sinoatrial node, also known as pacemaker, arterioventricular node, and a bundle of histones and Purkinje fibers. A special tissue in the medulla oblongata, adrenaline hormones, adrenal medullary hormones, adrenaline or non-adrenaline. Which of the following organisms can't fix nitrogen? Azotobacter, Oscillatoria, Anabina, Volvox, Nostoc. Choose the correct answers from the options given below. And it is 2, Volvox. It is actually can't fix nitrogen. It is an algae. Okay. Now coming to here, this is from the chapter Microbes from Human Welfare, class 12. Read the NCERT here. The nodules on the roots of the legume plants are formed by the symbiotic association of rhizobium. These bacteria fix the nitrogen into organic forms which is used by the plants as nutrition. Other bacterium can fix nitrogens while the free living is in the soil. Examples: Azospirillum, Azobacter, enriching the nitrogen content in the soil. And cyanobacteria are autotrophic microbes widely distributed in aquatic and terrestrial environments, which can fix atmospheric nitrogen. Anabina, Nostac, and Oscillatory. These can fix atmospheric nitrogen. So, the exception case is only Volvax. Statement types. Statement 1. Transfer RNAs, tRNA, and ribosomal RNA, rRNAs, do not interact with mRNA. Sorry, statement 1 is wrong. Statement 2. RNA interference. RNAi takes place in all eukaryotic organisms as method of cellular defense. It is correct. So, statement 1 is incorrect, statement 2 is correct, and the option is 4. Option 4 is the answer. And here, the tRNA interacts with mRNA during the translation by matching its anticodon to the mRNA codon, where rRNA is a part of ribosome, where helps in aligning the mRNA and tRNA, facilitating the protein synthesis. So, according to statement 1, these interact with mRNA during translation. Okay, the tRNA and rRNA interact with mRNAs in protein synthesis and translation process. Here, the second statement is correct, where RNA interference takes place in all eukaryotic organisms as a method of cellular defense. This actually taken from Biotechnology Applications chapter, class 12. You can see here, a novel strategy were adopted to prevent this infestation, which was based on the process RNA interference, where takes place in all eukaryotic organisms as method of cellular defense. So, statement 2 was right, and statement 1 is incorrect. It interacts with mRNA and remaining process of RNA interference. In the above represented plasmid, an alien piece of DNA is inserted at E. coli site. Which of the following strategies will be chosen to select the recombinant colonies? This question is taken from the chapter Biotechnology Principles and Processes, and answer is 3. White colors colonies will be selected. Option 3 is the answer. You must know what is recombinant and what is non-recombinant, what type of colonies, what type of colors produced by the recombinant or non-recombinant. These are the NCERT lines. Read from here. This results in this a recombinant DNA is inserted with a coding sequence of an enzyme beta galactidase. This enzyme into inactivation of the gene of a synthesis of this enzyme, which is referred to as insertional inactivation. The presence of chromogenic substrate gives blue colored colonies. If the plasmid in the bacteria doesn't have any insert or presence of any insert results in insertional inactivation of beta galactoside gene and do not produce any color. These are identified as recombinant colonies. When the colonies do not produce any color, these are identified as recombinant colonies. Here, see, an alien piece is inserted at an E. coli site. It means it is inserted. The colonies do not produce any color. It is nothing but white color. Okay. When the white color is being seen, it is identified as recombinant colonies. Means it has been inserted. Some alien DNA has been inserted. It means it refers to recombinant. Non-recombinant will produce color. No, recombinant will not produce any color. It means white. Insertional at E. coli site, which make into the beta galactidase, is a recombinant enzyme which do not produce any color. It will like white. So white color colonies will be selected. In non-recombinant ones, it produce chromogenic plates, colored ones. So it will be identified as non-recombinant. White one be identified as recombinant ones. Which of the following genetically engineered organisms are used by Eli Lilly company to prepare human insulin? It is bacteria. This is from the chapter Biotechnology Applications. Here, genetically engineered insulin. Now imagine if bacterium were available that could make human insulin, suddenly the whole process becomes so simple. So the large quantity of the bacterium makes him as much as insulin you need. The artificial insulin is actually produced by bacterium. Okay, the insulin is produced by bacteria. Name the class of enzyme that catalyze the following reaction. In this reaction, the G represents a group other than hydrogen, where here S represents a substrate and S star or S hashtag represents another substrate. This is from the chapter known as Biomolecules, class 11, and the answer is transferase. Here simple transfer, simple English, where the group other than hydrogen transfers from the one substrate S1 to the other substrate. I was just telling in a normal terms. Let's see the NCERT here. Transferase, direct lines from the NCERT. See here, this group has been transferred to this. Enzyme catalyzing a transfer of a group G other than hydrogen between a pair of substrate S and S dash. Here S and a group plus S dash give rise to S plus G and S dash. Transferase is the enzyme responsible for this transfer of catalyzing the group. Find the statement that is not correct with regarding the structure of monocot stem. Hypodermis is parenchymatous. Wrong, because hypodermis is not parenchymatous. So it is option 1 is the answer, because not correct with regarding the monocot stem. Vascular bundles are scattered. Yes, in monocot vascular bundles are scattered. Vascular bundles are conjoined and closed. Yes, in monocot there are conjoined and closed. Phloem parenchyma is absent. There is no phloem parenchyma in monocot. So it is also correct. The only wrong, not correct one is hypodermis is parenchymatous is wrong, because the hypodermis is sclerenchymatous, not parenchymatous. In monocot stem, the hypodermis is sclerenchymatous, not parenchyma or parenchymatous. Vascular bundles are scattered. Vascular bundles are conjoined, closed. Phloem parenchyma is absent. You can see here about the monocotyledon stem. This is from this, and MCQ is from the chapter Anatomy in Flowering Plants. The correct sequence of events in the life cycle of bryophytes. These 5 are the different events in the life cycle of bryophytes. Arrange them in an order. Okay. Fusion of antherozoid with egg. Attachment of gametophyte to substratum. Reduction division to produce haploid spores. Formation of sporophyte. Release of antherozoids into water. At almost first, what we know about bryophytes? In bryophytes, the dominant one is gametophyte, right? So let's see this in the sequence. Attachment of gametophyte to substratum. Okay, so let's consider this as first B, then D, because formation of sporophyte. According to bryophytes, what we read in NCERT, the dominant phase is gametophyte. So I considered B. Next, E, release of anthrozoids into water. Anthrozoids is nothing but male gametophytes, it released into water. Okay, E. Next, now male gametes are released, it should be go and fuse with the female gamete, it is known as egg. So fusion of anthrozoids with egg, female gamete. Yeah. Okay, now we finalize two options here, 2 and 3. So B, E, A, B, E is the same. So let's find out C or D. Now formation of sporophyte or reduction division to produce haploid spore. It is formation of sporophyte. Male and female are fused here. It leads to formation of sporophyte, not directly to the haploid spores. So formation of sporophyte happens. Next, in sporophyte, the reduction division to produce the haploid spore takes place. So B, E, A, D, C is the sequence. Option 3 is the answer. B, E, A, D, C. I taken the bryophytes as a B. I consider B first because the dominant phase is gametophyte in the bryophytes. So it starts with the gametophyte attachment of gametophyte to substrate. Next, release of anthrozoids, male gametes into water. In bryophytes, it requires water for the fertilization. And after releasing of the male gametes, what will happen? It will obviously search for the female gamete. So egg, fusion of anthrozoids with egg. After fusion of anthrozoids with egg, it will be formation of sporophyte. And after formation of sporophyte, after maturation of a sporophyte, reduction division maybe takes place in the sporophyte to produce haploid spores. This is the sequence and events in the life cycle of bryophytes. This is from the chapter known as Plant Kingdom, PK, from the class 11. Read the NCERT thoroughly, line to line. Which are correct? Computed tomography, CT scans, and magnetic resonance imaging, MRI, detect cancers of internal organs. Yes, the CT and MRI can detect the cancers of internal organs. Next, chemotherapeutic drugs are used to kill non-cancerous cells. It's complete foolish statements. The chemosynthetic drugs are used to kill cancerous cells. Here he mentioned non-cancerous, so it is wrong. Alpha interons activate the cancer patient's immune system and helps in destroying the tumors. As it is correct, the alpha introns activates our immune system, it helps the immune system and destroy the tumor. So it is C is correct. Chemotherapeutic drugs are biological response modifiers. It is wrong. The patients are given substance called biological response modifiers, such as alpha introns can activate the immune system. This is wrong. In the case of leukemia, blood cell count are decreased. Blunder, wrong, because in case of leukemia it increased. So only A and C is correct. Option 4 is the answer. A and C is only correct options. Here you can read about the CT scans and MRI, where our question is taken primarily from these lines, and you can even read about the cancer and detection and diagnosis here. This question is from Human Health Centromere. It is related to cell division. It helps in cell division where the spindle fibers attached to it during mitosis. So it is 2. Cilium. The cilium helps in cell movement in locomotion of the cell. So 3. Cristae. It is the inner membrane of the mitochondria. So it is 1. Cell membrane. Cell membrane actually is a basic structure in the plasma membrane. It's having phospholipid layer. So 4. 2, 3, 1, 4. Option 4 is the answer. This question is from Cell Unit of Life, Class 11 biology. You can see the NCERT statements here about the cell membrane bilayered. The major lipids are phospholipids that arranged in a bilayer. You can read here. Next, cilia. The cilia causing, here you can read about the cilia. This is responsible for cell movement. Okay. Next, here you can see about the mitochondria, crista. The inner membrane forms a number of infoldings called cristae towards the matrix. Okay, so crista means it's related to mitochondria. Next, centromere. It helps in cell division. Read this once. So, centromere, it's related to cell division. Cilium, cell movement. Crista, mitochondrial inner membrane. Cell membrane, phosphobilipid layer. Here come another matching. Chlorophyll A. Chlorophyll A is blue-green color. 3. Chlorophyll B, it is yellow-green. 1. Xanthophyll, it is yellow. Carotenoids is yellow to yellow-orange. 3, 1, 2, 4 is the sequence. So answer will be 2, second option. This is from photosynthesis in higher plants. Here you can see the NCERT, chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, carotenoids. From here, chlorophyll A, bright or blue-green in the chromatography. The colors you can obtain by the process known as chromatography. You may be studied in chemistry, organic chemistry starting chapter. Chlorophyll B, yellow-green. Xanthophylls is yellow. Carotenoids is yellow to yellow-orange. Okay. Direct question from NCERT. Straight question. Straight matching. Chlorophyll A, blue-green. Chlorophyll B, yellow-green. Xanthophylls, yellow. Carotenoids, yellow to yellow-orange. Guys, keratin is present in carrot. So, what is the color of the carrot? It is orange. So, you can blindly mark the orange. D. D4. Even the simple basic, you know that, you can answer it. Find the correct statements. In human pregnancy, the major organs are formed at the end of 12 weeks. Yes, it is right. It is correct statement. 12 weeks means 1 trimester. Nothing but 3 months. In human pregnancy, the major organs are formed at the end of 8 weeks. No, not possible, because it's just 2 months of embryo. In human pregnancy, the heart is formed after 1 month of gestation. Yes, it is right. On 21st day, the heartbeat starts. In human pregnancy, the limbs and digits are developed by the end of 2nd month. Yes, it is right. In human pregnancy, the appearance of hair usually observed in the 5th month. It is also correct statement. Except B, A, C, D, E are the right correct statements. So option 4 is the answer. This question is from the chapter Human Reproduction, class 12. This is the NCERT. You can read it from here. The direct lines are given as statements. The first sign of growing fetus may be noticed by listening to the heart sound carefully. Here. In human beings, after 1 month of pregnancy, the embryo's heart is formed. By the end of 2nd month of pregnancy, the fetus limbs and digits are developed. By the end of 12 weeks, most of the major organs are formed. Limbs and external genital organs as well as developed. The first movement of the fetus and appearance of the hair on the head are usually observed in the 5th month. By the end of the 24 weeks and 2nd trimester, the body is covered with fine hair, separated eyelids, eyelashes are formed. By the end of 9 months of pregnancy, the fetus is fully developed and ready to delivery. In the seeds of cereals, the outer covering of endosperm separates the embryo by a protein-rich layer called alurone layer. Option 4 is the answer. This question is from the chapter known as Morphology in Flowering Plants, class 11 biology. We can see the NCERT lines here. The outer covering of endosperm separates the embryo by a proteinaceous layer called alurone layer. The question is from here. You can see the layer, alurone layer, in the monocot seed. This layer. Which of the following diagram is correct with regarding to proximal and distal tubules of nephron? He given PCT and DCT of nephrons and asking the correct diagram. To solve this, you must know the diagram very clearly, and you should also know about idea of secretions and reabsorptions into tubular parts of nephron. Let's see the NCERT here. This is cortex region of the nephron, medullary region. In cortex region, proximal convoluted tube PCT, distal convoluted tube DCT are present. In medullary, loop of Henle and collecting majority portion of collecting tube is present in medulla. Now, coming to here. In PCT, HCO3 minus, NaCl, H2O and potassium ions are reabsorbed from the tube, and H hydrogen ions, NH3 has been selectively it is secreted into tubes. Here in DCT, NaCl, H2O, NaCl, H2O, HCO3 has been reabsorbed selectively in distal DCT, where potassium and hydrogen ions are secreted into tubules. Okay, now coming to here. In first option, H2O is secreted in PCT, so it is wrong because it reabsorbed from PCT. In second one, the hydrogen ions are secreted into tubules. Ammonia, NH3 is also secreted. Potassium is secreted in DCT. Yeah, second one is the answer. You can cross check from the NCERT. Here H and NH3 has been secreted. Potassium and hydrogen is secreted in DCT. Same. While coming to the third option, the NaCl is actually reabsorbed from DCT, so it is wrong. Here the water are being reabsorbed actually, so D also wrong. Only correct option is 2. Actually is only option, so 2. Identify the part of a bioreactor which is used as a foam breaker from the following figure. This figure is stirred tank bioreactor. This question is from the chapter Biotechnology Principles and Processes, class 12. We should know the diagrams very carefully. We should even study the labeling part also very carefully. See here. This is the foam breaker. So, C is the answer. Option 4. Simple. Study the diagrams very carefully, even the labeling also. Simple stirred tank bioreactor. Foam breaker. Flat bladed impellers. This is the motor. Acid and base for pH control. Steam for sterilization. Sterile air. Culture broth. This is spared stirred tank bioreactor through which sterile air bubbles are spread. See. A typical unfertilized angiosperm embryo sac at maturity is 8 nucleate and 7 cell. Yes, it is right. The egg aperture has 2 polar nuclei. Sorry, it is wrong because the egg aperture actually contains 1 egg cell and 2 synergids. Okay. In the other way, the 2 polar nuclei are in central cell, not in egg apertures. You got it? The egg aperture has 2 polar nuclei is wrong because the egg apertures actually had 1 egg cell and 2 synergids. And the polar nuclei, the 2 polar nuclei are present in central cell. So, assertion is right, reason is wrong. So, A is true, R is false. This is the embryo sac diagram. You can read it from here, the lines here. This question is from sexual reproduction in flowering plants. A specialized membranous structure in a prokaryotic cell which helps in cell wall formation, DNA replication and respiration is. It is option 1, mesosome. The mesosome are specialized in infolding of plasma membranes in prokaryotic cell which assist in cell wall formation, DNA replication and respiration. This question is from the chapter known as Cell Unit of Life in class 11 from NCERT. Here, a special membrane structure is the mesosome, which is formed by extensions of the plasma membrane into the cell. These extensions in the form of vesicles, tubules and lamella help in the cell wall formation, DNA replication and distribution to daughter cells. They also help in respiration, secretion processes to increase the surface area of the plasma membrane and enzymatic content. In some prokaryotes like cyanobacteria, these are other membranous extensions into the cytoplasm called chromatophores which contain the pigments. So it is mesosome, option 1. Which of the following are the post-transcriptional events in an eukaryotic cell? Post-transcriptional means after the process of transcription. Now coming to 1, transport of pre-mRNA to cytoplasm prior to splicing. This is wrong because it is not, it will be transported after the splicing, not prior to splicing. So it is wrong. Next, removal of introns and joining of exons. This is right. Addition of methyl group at 5' end of hnRNA. This is also right. Addition of adenine residues at the 3' end of hnRNA. This is also right. Base pairing of two complementary mRNAs. This is wrong because the base pairing of two complementary RNAs doesn't come under the post-transcriptional event. It is not a post-transcriptional event. So B, C, D are the only options. So it is 2 is the answer. This question is from molecular basis chapter from class 12. Here you can see this removal of introns, and you can also see that addition of methyl guanine triphosphate capping. Here addition of adenine residue at 3' and tailing method. This is the process of transcription in eukaryotes. So B, C, D are only options. This transport of pre-mRNA to cytoplasm actually after the splicing. If instead of the prior word, if he mentioned after splicing, it is also correct. What is the pattern of inheritance for polygenic trait? Polygenic trait is controlled by multiple genes, actually each contributing a small additive effect. These do not follow Mendel's law. So it will be like non-Mendelian inheritance pattern. Option 2 is the answer. This polygenic doesn't follow the Mendel's law. Examples are skin color and height are the examples. Okay. This question is from chapter variations, class 1. Here you can see that polygenic inheritance, and such traits are generally controlled by 3 or more genes as the polygenic traits. Basic involvement of multiple genes, polygenic inheritance. Examples: human skin color. Here, even here skin color and heights. These are 2 examples of polygenic inheritance or polygenic trait. This doesn't follow Mendel's law, so we can mention this non-Mendelian inheritance pattern. Which one of the following enzymes contain heme as a prosthetic group? Direct question from NCERT, and the answer is option 4. Option 4, catalase. This question is from the chapter named as Biomolecules from class 11 biology NCERT. Here you can see the NCERT page. I think this is the last page of the lesson biomolecules. See this paragraph. Prosthetic groups are organic compounds and are distinguished from other cofactors in that they are tightly bound to apoenzymes. For example, in peroxidase and catalase, which catalyzes the breakdown of the hydrogen peroxide H2O2 to water and oxygen. Heme is the prosthetic group and it is a part of active site of the enzyme. This is the question and catalase is the answer. It is option 4 from Biomolecules, class 11, NCERT. You can read the paragraph here. Thank you. Each of the following characteristic represents a kingdom proposed by Whittaker. Whittaker proposed 5 kingdom classification and it consists of Monera, Protista, fungi, kingdom plants, kingdom plantae, kingdom animalia, animals. Arrange the following in increasing order of complexity of the body organisms, means single celled monarians to multicellular plantae or animalia. Now, these 5 each represents the each characteristics of the 5 kingdoms. Now, let's find out the monarians to Protista. Monarians are single celled. Here to multicellular to animals and plants. First evolved cells are known as prokaryotes. From prokaryotes, eukaryotes are been evolved. Cells, groups of cells are evolved, changed to tissue. Group of tissues are been organized to form organs or organ systems. Okay. The monarians are single celled. So prokaryotes first formed. Let's start with this. Prokaryotes with cell wall made up of polysaccharides and amino acids. I denote this or mark this as monarians. Eukaryotic autotrophs. Autotrophs means they prepare their own food. Some majority of the plants are autotrophs. And some of the variations of fungi are also autotrophs. But here he was about mentioned eukaryotic autotrophs. It means I go with plants. Plant kingdom. Eukaryotic autotrophs with tissue and organ level of body organization. Okay, so this is kingdom plantae. Eukaryotes with a cellular body. Eukaryotes with cellular body means Protista. Okay, Protista. Next, multicellular heterotrophs with cell wall made up of chitin. Only fungi consist of cell wall. In the fungus, cells are only consist of chitin. So this is fungi. Heterotrophs with tissue, organ system level of body organization. Tissues, organ system, and heterotrophs. So this is kingdom Animalia. Monarians. C. Next, Protista. E. Fungi. A. Plant. D. And B. So C, E, A, D, B. This is option 2, C. Monarians, prokaryotes with cell wall made up of polysaccharides and amino acids. Next, E. Protista, eukaryotes with a cellular body organization. A. Multicellular heterotrophs with cell wall made up of fungi. Okay, so made up of fungi, chitin. It is fungus, kingdom fungus. Next, D. Eukaryotic autotrophs with tissue or organ level of body organization. This is kingdom plantae, plants, kingdom plant kingdom. Next, B. Heterotrophs with tissue or organ system level of body organization is kingdom Animalia, animals, animal kingdom. So it is option 2. This question is from chapter named as Biological Classification. Chapter 2 from class 11 NCERT Biology. This you can see the characteristics of all 5 kingdoms. Monarians are prokaryotes, Protista are eukaryotes, fungi also eukaryotes, and remaining all are eukaryotes, because these only monarians are prokaryotes. So I start marking this prokaryotes with monera. Okay, you read this table, study this table very well, by heart it. Okay, you can also see autotrophic and heterotrophs here and here also. Majority of the plant, majority are heterotrophs in plant kingdom. Some variations will be in fungus, they can prepare their own food, autotrophs. Who is known as father of ecology in India? father of ecology in India? It is option 2, Ramdev Mishra. Actually, this was taken from unit introduction of ecology. Okay, let's see the NCERT. I think no one expected to see this bit from here. It was taken from here. He was Ramdev Mishra. Here, see. He was the father of ecology in India. You can read the whole paragraph about his achievements and all. His biography, you may think. This time NTA played very well. A little bit tricky. Taking questions from here, no one can expect it actually. Match the following. Here, Hershey and Chase. And they both conducted an experiment which confirms the DNA as a genetic material. So, it is 4. Next, euchromatin. Euchromatin means it is loosely packed and light stained. So, it is 3. Next, Griffith. Griffith works on R strains and S strains related to Streptococcus pneumonia. First, this is maybe first experiment which is given in the molecular basis chapter. Majority of you have you remember this, I hope so. Next, heterochromatin is densely packed and dark stained. All these are in 2-3 pages nearby. Wait, I will show the NCERT also. So this is 2. 4312. 4312. Third one is the answer. As I already said, this is from molecular basis. Every year at least 6 questions has been asked from this chapter. Very much important, high weightage chapter here. In 1 year, I think 22 NEET, 15 questions has been asked from molecular basis in 2022. So it is very high weightage chapter. Here you can see the molecular basis NCERT here. Euchromatin, loosely packed euchromatin and densely packed heterochromatin. Next, transforming principle is by Griffith. Works on pneumonia, Streptococcus pneumonia, about bacteria, and the smooth shiny colony is known as S strain, rough colony is known as R strain. Next, properties of genetic material DNA versus RNA. Proves that DNA is a genetic material by it is by Hershey's and Chase. This experiment was conducted by proving that DNA as a genetic material was conducted by Hershey and Chase. Neoplastic characteristics of cells refers to. First, we have to know what is neoplastic. In tumor cells, there are 2 types. One is benign cells, which are starting stage and which mature to form malignant tumors. The malignant tumors are mass of proliferating cells called neoplastic or tumor cells. Mass of proliferating cells. Correct. Rapid growth of cell. Correct. Invention and damage to surrounding tissue. Yes. These malignant tumor cells are neoplastic. I have all these A, B, C characteristics of the cells, but these are confined to original location. Sorry, it is wrong. These neoplastic cells travels throughout the body. It spreads throughout the body. It doesn't confine to the original position. This characteristics is related to the benign tumor cells, not malignant or neoplastic. So A, B, C are the characteristics of neoplastic. This is primary tumor one, benign one. You can see about cancer here. Tumors, 2 types, benign and malignant. These are normally remain confined to original location. The 4th point, original location, it is benign tumors. Do not spread to other part. But malignant, on the other hand, are mass of proliferating cells called neoplastic or tumor cells. These cells grow very rapidly, invading and damaging the surrounding normal tissues. As these actively divide and grow, they also starve the normal cells by competing for the vital nutrition. Cells lodged for such tumors reach distinct sites through blood. Whenever they get lodged in the body, they start a new tumor there. This property is called metastasis. Is most feared property of the malignant tumor. The complex 2 of mitochondrial electron transport chain is also known as. Option 1 cytochrome BC1, option 2 succinate dehydrogenase, option 3 cytochrome C oxidase, option 4 NADH dehydrogenase, and it will be the option 2 succinate dehydrogenase. And this question is from the chapter known as respiration in plants, and this is from the topic electron transport system and oxidative phosphorylation. And you can see the diagram here. Let's see this. Complex 1 NADH dehydrogenase, complex 3, the formation of this complex order will be 1 3 2 4. It will not will be like in the order of numericals. So complex 1 will be NADH dehydrogenase, complex 3 will be cytochrome BC1, and here our question is complex 2 name, succinate dehydrogenase. This is the answer, succinate dehydrogenase. So we mark that option 2 here. Direct question from the NCERT. And cytochrome C will be the cytochrome C oxidase will be the complex 4 name. So it will be the option 2 succinate dehydrogenase. Polymerase chain reaction PCR amplifies the DNA. The following equation is. Let's see this first. This is from the chapter Biotechnology Principles and Processes. Here amplification process. In polymerase chain reaction PCR, each cycle of amplification doubles the amount of DNA. So if we start with one molecule of DNA, after completion of first cycle, one cycle, we get 2 molecules. After completion of 2 cycles, we will be end with 4 molecules. And on completion of third one, we will be like having 8 molecules. On completion of 4 cycles, we will be like 16, 2, 4, 8, 16. See this trend. It will be like pattern of exponential. So we can come with this 2 power n will be the answer. Here, okay, it is option 2, 2 power n. Here n represents the number of cycles. In polymerase chain reaction, each cycle of amplification doubles the DNA, amount of DNA. What are the potential drawbacks in adoption of IVF method? Here IVF, in vitro fertilization. So what are the drawbacks? High fatality risk to mother. Fatality means any cause of death or any serious thing like expensive instruments and reagents. Husband or wife necessary for being a donor. Less adoption of orphans. Not available in India. Possibility that early embryos does not survive. Choose the correct answer for the given options given below. It will be like option 1, B, D, F are the correct options. These are the B, D, F are the potential drawbacks in adoption of IVF, because here the poor people, majority of the middle class are poor, can't take the IVF process because it's too expensive. And D, and less adoption of orphans. And F, possibility that early embryo does not survive. There should be like multiple cases that the starting stage will not be success in all time, in all cases of women. So possible early embryo cannot be survived. So the B, D, F will be the potential drawbacks in adoption of IVF. What is the name of the blood vessel that carries deoxygenated blood from the body to heart in a frog? Here, observe carefully. He was asking about deoxygenated blood from body to heart in frog. The answer is Vancouver, option 4. This is from the chapter known as Structural Organisms. Let us see the NCERT here about frog. It receives blood through the major vein called vena cava. It receives through the major veins. Veins always carry deoxygenated blood from body parts to heart. Remember, every time deoxygenated blood is carried by veins except pulmonary vein. Pulmonary vein always carries oxygenated blood. Deoxygenated carries by veins, exception is pulmonary vein. In the same way, oxygenated is carried by and supplied by arteries, exception is pulmonary artery, which carries CO2, gives to heart to lungs. Deoxygenated is veins, exception pulmonary vein. Oxygenated is arteries, exception is pulmonary artery. Which one of the following statements refers to reductionist biology? And it is option 1, physico-chemical approach to study and understand the living organisms. Maybe no one expected this one. This is from the chapter cell structure and function, and this MCQ has been given from here. The physico-chemical approach to study and understand the living organisms is called reductionist biology. So from this year, please read this text between the units and as well as the scientist one. In the RNA world, RNA is considered the first genetic material evolved to carry essential life processes. RNA act as a genetic material and also act as a catalyst for some important biochemical reactions in the living systems. Being reactive, RNA is unstable. Yes, this statement 1 is correct. Now coming to statement 2, DNA evolved from RNA, yes, and is more stable genetic material, and its double helix strands being complementary resist change by evolving repairing mechanism. Yes, DNA is evolved from RNA. This is the structure of DNA. This is RNA. The only change is here at second position. RNA contains OH, DNA contains H. Yes, the statement 2 and 1 and 2 also correct. So option will be A, 1. First option was the correct answer. You can read about the RNA and replications process and DNA structures. This is from the chapter known as molecular basis of inheritance. Epiphytes that are growing on mango branch is an example of which of the following? And the answer is 1, commensalization. Commensalization means if there are two species A and B, one species will be benefited and second species will be neither be harmed nor be benefited. So it will be like plus and 0. And this is from the chapter known as organisms and population. Here you can see and read about commensalization, and here orchids growing on epiphytes of mango tree. From this line the question has been taken. Here is the answers. Plus one species is benefited, one is neither be benefited nor be harmed. From the statements given below, choose the correct options. The eukaryotic ribosomes are 80S and prokaryotic ribosomes are 70S. Yes, it is true. Each ribosome has two subunits. Yes, the two subunits of 80S ribosomes are 60S and 40S, while that 70 has 50S and 30S. As this is also correct. Next, the two subunits of 80S ribosome are 60S and 20S. No, it's wrong. And this was the correct one. This is not. The two subunits of 80S are 60S and 30S, and 70s are 50 and 30. No, it is wrong. So options will be A, B, C are true. This is from the chapter known as cell unit of life, and you can see here 80S and 70S. 80S has 60S and 40S, and 70S ribosomes are 50S and 30S. 80 will be like 60 and 40, where 70s will be like 50s and 30s. And here S represents seed work units. Which one of the following is an example of executive conservation? And it will be like option 3 is the answer. Zoos and botanical gardens. This question is from the chapter named Biodiversity and its conservation. And the topic here, executive conservation. Read this. Zoological parks, botanical gardens and wildlife safari parks serve this purpose. Executive conservation means, in this approach, threatened animals and plants are taken out from their natural habitats and placed in special settings where they can be protected and given a special care. So, coming to question, it will be like zoos. In zoos, the animals are taken special care. Here, in botanical gardens, the plants are taken as special care. Here, the wildlife sanctuary, national parks and protected areas, these are come under institute conservation. Try to find out the difference between the ex situ versus in situ. The primary source of energy in an ecosystem is solar energy. Yes, the solar energy is the prime source of energy in the ecosystem. So, it is correct. Second, statement 2. The rate of production of organic matter during photosynthesis in an ecosystem is called net primary productivity NPP. No, it is wrong, because it is not NPP. It is gross primary GPP, gross primary productivity. The rate of production of organic matter during photosynthesis in an ecosystem is gross primary productivity GPP. So option 1, statement 1, option 3 is correct, statement 1 is correct and statement 2 is incorrect. It is not NPP, it is GPP. Here you can see here, this is chapter named ecosystem, maximum second page or something. Here under productivity you can see the difference between the gross primary productivity and net primary productivity. Here NPP is nothing but GPP minus R is equals to NPP. Here R means respiratory losses. GPP is only the primary productivity, not NPP. So statement 2 is wrong. And the constant input of solar energy is the basic requirement for any ecosystem to function and sustain. It is related to the statement 1. So statement 1 is correct and statement 2 is incorrect. Statement 1. DNA fragments extracted from gel electrophoresis can be used in construction of recombinant DNA. Yes, it is true. Statement 2. Smaller sized DNA fragments are observed near the anode, while larger fragments are found near the well in an agarose gel. Yes, this is also true. So statement 1 and 2 are correct. Option 1 is the answer. This is from the chapter known as Biotechnology Principle and Processes. Here, this is from NCERT. Here, separation and isolation of DNA fragments. You can see that cutting is done by restriction endonuclease, results in fragments of DNA separated by a technique known as gel electrophoresis. Here the DNA fragments are negatively charged, they can separate by forcing move towards the anode under an electric field. Here these are the two statements are from the direct lines from NCERT. You can see here. Here adenosine. Adenosine means it is a nucleoside, so it is 3. Adenylic acid, it is nucleotide, so it is 2. Adenine is nitrogen base, N2 base, so 1. Alanine is a amino acid, so 4. It is 3214. Option 3 is the answer. Here, let's say this. This is adenine and this is uracil. These are N2 bases, nitrogen bases. Okay. This is adenosine, uridine. This is nucleosides. Nucleosides means, you can see here, nucleoside is formed when a sugar, means ribose or deoxyribose, is linked with a nitrogen base, N2 base, but it lacks a phosphate group. Without phosphate group, no phosphate group will be seen in the nucleoside. In this, there is no phosphate group. But while coming to nucleotide, here, adenylic acid is a nucleotide because it was having a nitrogen base plus phosphate group. Okay, nitrogen base, N2 base and phosphate group. This is a nucleotide. While coming to nucleosides, there is only nitrogen base, but nothing, no phosphate group. Okay, so this is nucleoside, this is nucleotide. While coming to here, nitrogen base, N2 base. Nucleotide which is having both nitrogen base and phosphate group is tide. Side means only nitrogen base, N2 base, there is no phosphate group. Okay. Consider the following. The reduction division for the human female gametogenesis starts earlier than the male gametogenesis. Yes, it is right, because for females it starts in the case of embryonic stage, but for males it starts at puberty. So it is right. It starts earlier in female. The gap between the first meiotic division and second meiotic division is much shorter for males compared to females, because in females the first will start in the embryo and the second will comes and after the puberty maturation, but in males it will be at the same time after puberty. So it is much shorter in males, but it's very longer time gap between the first meiotic and second meiotic in case of females. So it is also right. In case of the first polar body is associated with the formation of primary oocyte. Sorry, it is wrong. No, the first polar body is not associated with the formation of primary oocyte. The first polar body is formed after the formation of primary oocyte undergo its first meiotic division, resulting in formation of secondary oocyte and first polar body. Okay. Luteinizing hormone LH surge leads to disintegration of endometrium and onset of menstrual bleeding. The LH surge actually a sharp increase in luteinizing hormone. Like if you see the graph, it will be like a little LH surge at 14th day. It plays a crucial role in menstruation, but it does not directly leads into disintegration. It is not direct cause of disintegration. Fall of progesterone is actually leads to the disintegration of endometrium and leads to menstrual bleeding. So only A, B were only true, C, D are false. You can read this. This question is from the chapter known as human reproduction. As per new NCERT class 12 chapter 2, but actually old NCERT will be chapter 3. All living members of the class Cyclostoma are. These are ectoparasites. This question is from chapter named Animal Kingdom, chapter 4 from class 11 NCERT. Here you can see the NCERT line here. Class Cyclostoma. All living members of class Cyclostoma are ectoparasites on some fishes. They feed on other fishes. Okay. This is the example, Petromyzon. These are also known as jawless vertebrates. You guys read this once. Cyclostoma. Actually pretty much important. Can be expected question every alternate year. Maybe another next year also. The primary function of Golgi apparatus is to be pack the materials made by endoplasmic reticulum and deliver it to intracellular targets and outside the cell. It is a basic function of Golgi apparatus to pack. So it is right. Transshipment. Okay. From inside to outside of the cell. Next. Vesicles containing materials made by endoplasmic reticulum fuse with cis phase of the Golgi apparatus and they are modified and released from trans phase of the Golgi apparatus. Yes, these vesicles helps in packing of the material and it is related to the transshipment of Golgi apparatus and endoplasmic reticulum work. So it is also right. And I say that both the assertion and the reason are true and the reason is correct explanation for the assertion. So option 1 is the answer. This question is from Cell Unit of Life, class 11 NCERT. You can see here Golgi apparatus discovered by Camillo Golgi. These are densely stained reticular structures near the nucleus, first named later named by Golgi bodies after him. Yeah, you can see here varied number of cisternae arranged near the nucleus, distinctively known as cis and concave. This one is convex and trans is concave. Cis is known as the forming phase. This trans is known as maturing phase. Here cis and trans are organelles are entirely different but interconnected. Next, Golgi approaches are the principles for performing the packaging of the material like transshipments from either intracellular targets to secretes to outside of the cell. Materials to be packed in the form of vesicles and the form ER fuse with the cis phase means a forming phase and deliver at the trans phase, move toward the maturing phase. And a number of protein synthesis by the ribosomes on the ribonucleus are modified in the cis phase. You can read this. Both assertion and reason are correct and reason is the correct explanation for the assertion. So it is option 1 is the answer. Scutellum. It is cotyledons of monocot seed. So 2. Non-albuminous. It is groundnut because groundnuts are non-albuminous seeds. Next, epiblast. It is rudimentary of cotyledon. 4. Perisperm. Perisperm is persistent nucleus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. First option. Option A is the answer. This is directly given from NCERT lines and diagram from the chapter known as sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Okay, from class 12 new NCERT chapter 1. You can see the NCERT here. This is LS of monocot seed. Okay, here monocot, mono means single, cot means cotyledons. Here scutellum, it is cotyledon of monocot seed. Here this is epiblast, rudimentary of cotyledon. Okay, next you can see the direct question from here. Non-albuminous. Okay, it means the mature seed may be non-albuminous, have no residual endosperm. Endosperm is completely consumed. In example is pea plant and groundnut here. Next, perisperm. Occasionally in some seeds such as black pepper, beet, remnants of nucleus also persistent. This residual persistent nucleus is perisperm. Okay, black pepper, beet. Here you can see that scutellum, cotyledons of monocot seed. Non-albuminous means groundnut is an example. Epiblast means rudimentary of cotyledons. Perisperm means persistent nucleus. Here persistent nucleus. This is from direct from NCERT, nothing outside. You should by heart the NCERT. You should read very line to line very carefully also. All vertebrates are chordates, but all chordates are not vertebrates. Yes, this is right, because all the vertebrates are derived from chordates, but in some chordates there are cephalochordates and so many. So all chordates are not vertebrates. Okay. Next, the members of subphylum Vertebrata possess notochord during the embryonic period. The notochord is replaced by cartilaginous or bonovertebral column in adults. This is also right. So both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. It is option 1 is the answer. This question is directly taken from NCERT lines, chapter Animal Kingdom. Here you can see that after the in Animal Kingdom, after phylum chordata, you can see here the members of subphylum Vertebrata possess notochord during embryonic period. The notochord is replaced by an cartilaginous or bony vertebral column in the adults. Thus, all vertebrates are chordates, but all chordates are not vertebrates. Besides the basic chordate characters, vertebrates have a ventral muscular heart with 2 or 3/4 chambers, the kidneys for excretion and osmoregulation, and for paired appendages which may be fins and limbs. So, you should read the NCERT line to line, by heart it, mug up it. Direct line, just direct line, a para, it gives you 4 marks. Identify the statement that is not correct. Each antibody has 2 light and 2 heavy chains. It is right. The heavy and light chains are held together by disulfide bonds. This is also right. Antigen binding site is located at C-terminal region of antibody molecules. Sorry, it is wrong, because it is not C, it is located at N-terminal. And constant region of heavy and light chains are located at C-terminal of antibody molecules. This is also right. The antigen binding site is located at N-terminal, not C-terminal. So, this is wrong. It is located at N-terminal. So option is 3, because he asked that not correct. Which of the following statement is not correct? You can see this: light chains, heavy chains, held together by disulfide bonds. Okay. Each antibody molecule has 4 peptide chains, 2 small called light chains, 2 longer called heavy chains. The antigen binding site is present at N-terminal region of the antibody molecule. The constant region of the heavy and light chains are located at C-terminal of the antibody molecule. Here you can see this: C-terminals, N-terminal. Okay. Here N-terminal, antigen binding site. So this will be wrong. Actually, this question is completely taken from the diagrammatic based. Okay. There is no particular line in NCERT, I think so. This is from the chapter known as Human Health. Silencing of specific mRNA is possible via RNA interference because of complementary double-stranded RNA. Okay. This is from the chapter known as Biotechnology Applications. Okay, from class 12 biology. Here you can see the NCERT statement here. RNAi takes place in all eukaryotic organisms as a method of cellular defense. We'll show this here. This method involves silencing of specific mRNA due to complementary double-stranded RNA molecule that binds to and prevents translation of mRNA. Silencing. The source of this complementary RNA could be from an infection by viruses having RNA genomes and mobile genetic elements, transforms that replicates by RNA intermediate. Okay, you can see this. Specific mRNA due to complementary double-stranded RNA involves silencing of specific mRNA. Genes. Dominant R round and Y. Dominant Y means allow, follow independent assortment if homozygous dominant R and homozygous dominant Y produce round yellow seeds and homozygous recessive R, homozygous recessive Y produce wrinkled and green seeds. What will be the phenotypic ratio of the F2 generation? And it will answer is 9:3:3:1. This question is from the chapter named Variations from class 12 biology. Here you can see this law of independent assortment and 9:3:3:1. Round yellow, round green, wrinkled yellow, wrinkled green. 9 round yellow and 3 round green. 3 are wrinkled and yellow. Only one is wrinkled and green. Here round means dominant, yellow means also dominant. Round green, it will be like round, capital R dominant, green small y. Wrinkled small r, yellow, capital Y dominant Y. Dominant means yellow. And wrinkled small r, green recessive, same. It will be the answer. 3 round, 1 wrinkled, 3 yellow, 1 green is equals to 9 round yellow, 9 round yellow, 3 wrinkled yellow, 3 round green, 1 wrinkled green is the answer. Okay. In law of independent assortment, the F2 generation phenotypic ratio is 9:3:3:1 from the chapter Variations. Direct question from the NCERT. Histones are enriched with lysine and arginine is the answer. Option 1. Okay. From the chapter known as Molecular Basis, class 12 biology. Here you can see this. Histones are rich in basic amino acid residuals lysine and arginine. Both amino acid residuals carry positive charge in their side chains. Here, direct line from NCERT. The first menstruation is called option 2 menarche. Okay, from the chapter Human Reproduction, class 12 biology. This is from the topic menstrual cycle. Here the first menstruation begins at puberty is called menarche, and you can read this. In human females, the menstruation is repeated at average interval about 28 or 29 days a month. The cycle events starting from menstruation till the next one is called menstrual cycle. One ovum is released, and you can read the para from NCERT. From here the question has been asked. Menarche. Direct question from the NCERT. Heart. It is 3. Arterial natriuretic factor. It is ANF, option 3. Next, kidney. It is erythropoietin 1. Next, GI tract, gastrointestinal secretes secretin 4. Next, adrenal cortex. It is aldosterone 2. So it will be 3, 1, 4, 2. Option 4 is the answer. Chemical coordination chapter, last chapter of human physiology of class 11 biology. Here you can see this. The arterial wall of our heart secretes a very important peptide hormone called ANF, which decreases the blood pressure. Next, juxtaglomerular cells of kidney produce a peptide hormone called erythropoietin, which stimulate erythropoiesis, which related to formation of RPC. Next, The GI tract, gastrointestinal tract, secretes a 4 major peptide hormones named gastrin and secretin. Here, this is the where we got the question. One is from here, one is from here. Next, even secretin acts on exocrine pancreas, stimulate the secretion of water and bicarbonate ions. So this is from the chapter named Chemical Coordination, class 11, direct from NCERT para. The protein portion of an enzyme is called. It is option 3, apoenzyme. This question is from the chapter named Biomolecules from class 11 biology. Okay. Here we can see the NCERT line here. 3 kinds of here. These instances, the protein portion of the enzyme is called apoenzyme. The protein portion of the enzyme is called apoenzyme. 3 kinds of cofactor may be identified: prosthetic, coenzyme and metaenzymes. Our question is from here, this line, and the answer is apoenzyme. So it is option 3 and is from the chapter known as Biomolecules, class 11. Which of the following is the unit of productivity of an ecosystem? It will be option 4, kilocalorie per meter square per year. This is in terms of energy, but in terms of weight it will be gram meter square per year inverse per year. Here you can see this from the NCERT chapter Ecosystem, class 12 biology. Here the rate of biomass production is called productivity, and it expressed in terms of gram per meter square per year and kilocalorie meter square per year. So option 4 is the answer. It is given in terms of energy. This is in terms of weight. Sweet potato and potato represents a certain type of evolution. Select the correct combination of the terms to explain the evolution. And sweet potato and potato represents analogy and convergence. It is 1. Analogy means it is having same function but different in structure or different in origin. This question is from the chapter named Evolution from class 12 biology. You can see the NCERT here. Sweet potato root modification and potato stem modification is another example of analogy. Here you can see this results of convergent evolution, different structures evolving for the same function, hence having a similarity. You can even see the other examples of analogy: eye of an octopus and mammals, of flippers of penguin and dolphin. You can see this. And with the help of given pedigree, find out the probability for the birth of a child having no disease and being a carrier in F3 generation. Let us see here. The white colored square is unaffected male and the black colored square is affected male, and the circled and a small dot and a dot in the circle is carrier female. She was carrier, not affected. And a white color square is unaffected female, and a fully dark circle is affected female. Okay. Now see the pedigree analysis. In the first generation, it is obviously the affected female mates with a unaffected male, produce 2 daughters with carriers, and these carriers are again mated with an unaffected male, produces the one daughter produces 2 carrier females, and one daughter produces one of the affected son. Okay, now again F3 generation, the mating in between the relatives. These 2 lines indicates the mating in between relatives. Now our task is to find out these generation, these kids, F3 generation, and We have to find out the ratio of the child having no disease and being a carrier. This question is from the chapter named Variations from class 12 biology. Here the mating takes place between carrier female. It is not unaffected female. This is carrier which transmit the disease from one generation to another generation. Next, affected male. Okay, now the answer is 1/4. Option 1 is the answer. Let's see how. Before that, let us see the genotype of the affected male, unaffected male, and carrier female and affected female. The female has 2 X chromosome, where male has only 1 X chromosome and Y chromosome. In case of affected male, if the X chromosome affected, it will be deceased child. If the X chromosome is not affected, unaffected male. In case of carrier female, only one of the X chromosome is affected, so it will be like carrier, other will be free, no disease. Here this will be dominant, so this female or this daughter will become carrier to the next generation. In case of affected female, both chromosomes are affected. So the mating takes place between affected male and unaffected carrier female. Okay, it produces 4 outcomes, obviously 2 sons and 2 daughters. Here one of the daughter is affected and one of the son is affected, and here one daughter is carrier, one son is unaffected. So our question is probability for the child having no disease and being a carrier. It should be a carrier and no disease. Obviously it is a female and only 1. So only 1 out of 4. 1/4 is the answer. Out of 4, only 1 child. Here this case, this child is a carrier and unaffected. The probability is 1/4. Assertion: cells of tapetum possess dense cytoplasm and generally have more than 1 nucleus. Yes, it is right. Reason: presence of more than 1 nucleus in tapetum increase the efficiency of nourishing and developing in microspore mother cell. Sorry, it is wrong. So A is true, but reason is false. This is from the chapter Sexual Reproduction in Flowering Plants, class 12 biology. You can see here the NCERT statement. Here the innermost wall layer is tapetum, nourishing and developing the pollen grain. Cells of the tapetum possess dense cytoplasm, generally have more than 1 nucleus. How many meiotic and mitotic divisions need to occur for development of a mature female gametophyte from megaspore mother cell in an angiospermic plant? And the answer would be option 3, 1 meiosis and 3 mitosis. Here 1 meiosis takes place when megaspore mother cell transformed and resulting into 4 haploid megaspores. Okay, and other 3 mitosis takes place when megaspore, in out of these 4 only 3 are degenerated, only 1 will be remain. That 1 megaspore which develops into female gametophyte, and the megaspore undergo 3 mitotic divisions forming 7-celled or 7-celled and 8 nucleated embryo sac. Okay, in this 1 meiosis and 3 mitosis takes place. Let's see this once. Megasporogenesis: the process of formation of megaspores from the megaspore mother cell is called megasporogenesis. Ovules generally differentiate a single megaspore mother cell MMC in the micropylar region of the nucleus. It is a large cell containing dense cytoplasm and prominent nucleus. The MMC undergo meiotic division. In majority of flowering plants, one of the megaspore is functional while other three degenerate. Only functional megaspore develops into female gametophyte embryo sac. The nucleus of the functional megaspore divides mitotically to form two nucleus which move towards two opposite poles, forming two nucleate embryo sac. Two more sequential mitotic nuclear divisions results in formation of 4 nucleated and later 8 nucleate stage of the embryo sac. Which of the following is an example of zygomorphic flower? It is option 3, P. Zygomorphic is represented by the symbol this, and actimorphic is this symbol. Let's see the NCERT. This is from the chapter named Morphology. Okay, Morphology chapter here. When it can divided into two similar halves only in one particular vertical plane, it is zygomorphic. Example: pea, gulmer, bean, cassia. So it will option 3, pea plant, pea flower. After maturation in primary lymphoid organs, the lymphocytes migrates for interaction with antigens to secondary lymphoid organs or tissues like thymus, bone marrow, spleen, lymph nodes, pale patches of small intestine. Choose the correct answers from the options given below. And it would be option for C, D, E only. Spleen, lymph nodes, pale patches of small intestine are the secondary lymphoid organs. After maturation in primary lymphoid organs, the lymphocytes migrates to secondary lymphoid organs. Here, let's see the NCERT. This question is from the chapter Human Health. After maturation, the lymphocytes migrate to secondary lymphoid organs like spleen, lymph nodes, tonsils, pale patches of small intestine and appendix. Okay, from this statement type. Fig fruit is a non-vegetarian fruit, has it enclosed fig wasp in it. Sorry, this statement is wrong, false, because the fig fruit is a vegetarian fruit because the fig wasp only participates in pollination. Their presence inside the fruit does not make it non-vegetarian. The wasp are typically digested by the fig plant. No animal matter is left when we eat the fruit. Okay, so it is wrong. Next, fig wasp and fig tree exhibit mutual relationship as a fig wasp completes its life cycle in fig fruit and fig fruits get pollinated by the fig wasp. It is also wrong because it is incorrect, because the fig wasp pollinates the fig inflorescence, not fig fruit. So it is also incorrect. The very small minute word makes the statement incorrect. So it is option 2. In statement 1 it is vegetarian fruit, so it is wrong. In statement 2 it pollinates the fig inflorescence, fig flower, not the fig fruit. Actually the fig plant gives the wasp seeds as a gift, as a mutual benefit for the pollination, as a reward after pollination for the larva of the wasp. You can read this: fig flower and wasp larva here. This is from the chapter Organisms and Population, class 12 biology. What is the main function of spindle fibers during mitosis? Spindle fiber main function during mitosis, it is to separate the chromosomes. Option 1 is the answer. This question is from the chapter named cell cycle and division, class 11 biology. Here you can see the NCERT statement and explanation here. This is about regarding mitosis, NCERT. Let's see the explanation. Small disc-shaped structures at the surface of the centromere called kinetochores. These structures serve as sites of attachment of spindle fibers to the chromosome. At the onset of anaphase, each chromosome arranged at the metaphase plate is split simultaneously, and the two daughter chromatids, now referred to as daughter chromosomes of the future daughter nuclei, beginning in their migration towards the two opposite poles. This is assisted by simultaneous elongation of spindle fiber. Which one of the following is a characteristic feature of gymnosperm? We can blindly trust this second option, seeds or nectar. This question is from the chapter named Plant Kingdom, chapter 3, class 11 biology. Gymnosperms. Gymnos means naked, sperma means seeds, in which ovules are not enclosed by any ovarian wall and remains exposed both before and after fertilization. You can see the NCERT statements and you can read this from here. Consider the following statements regarding function of adrenal medullary hormones. A. It causes pupillary constriction. B. It is a hyperglycemic hormone. C. It causes piloerection. D. It increases strength of heart contraction. Choose the correct answer from the options given below. And it is option 2, B, C, D only. It is a hyperglycemic hormone. It causes piloerection. It increases the strength of heart contraction. It is the function of adrenal medullary hormones. Medullary. Why not option A? Because it is not constriction, it is dilution, pupillary dilution. Okay, now see the NCERT. This is from the chapter known as Chemical Coordination, class 11, Human Physiology, last chapter I think so. Here adrenaline, these hormones increase alertness, pupillary dilation, piloerection means raising of hair, goosebumps, okay, and sweating. And here heartbeat, increase in the heartbeat and strength of the heart contraction and rate of respiration also. Can't insulin be given orally to diabetic patients? Because it will be digested in gastrointestinal tract. Insulin is a protein hormone. When we take it orally, it get broken down by digestive enzymes in stomach as well as in small intestine. Before it reaches its bloodstream, it will be denatured its structure. It loses its structure and function before it reaches the bloodstream. So to ensure it properly, we give it through injections directly to our bloodstream. It will be digested in gastrointestinal tract when we take it orally. This is from the chapter named Biotechnology Applications, class 12 biology. This is the NCERT regarding insulin. Have a look at it. Pteridophytes. It is Salvina is it example of pteridophytes. 4. Bryophytes. Bryophytes means polytrichum. It is 3. Angiosperms. Salvia. 1. Next gymnosperms. D. It is 2. Ginkgo. Okay. Here you can see this is gymnosperms example, pteridophytes Salvina, and bryophytes. It is common example in mosses, a funaria here, polytrichum, and angiosperms example is salvia. This is from the chapter named Plant Kingdom, class 11 biology. So the answer will be 4312 will be the option. Yeah, option 2 is the answer. Thank you. Who proposed that genetic code for the amino acids should be made up of 3 nucleotides? It will be answer option 1, George Gamow, and this is from the chapter named Molecular Basis of Inheritance from class 12 biology. Here you can see the NCERT here. It was George Gamow, a physicist, who argued that since there are only 4 bases and if they have to code for 20 amino acids, the code should be consist of a combination of bases. He suggested that in order to code for all 20 amino acids, the code should be made up of 3 amino acids. And the scientist named George Gamow. So it is option 1 is the answer. Direct question from NCERT. Thank you. The evil quartet. It is 3 causes of biodiversity loss. Ex-situ conservation is cryopreservation, one of the methods of ex-situ conservation. It is 1. Lantana camera. It is option 2, alien species invention. Dodo. It is extinction. 4. 3, 1, 2, 4 will be the option. It is 2. This is from the chapter, this matching is from chapter named Biodiversity and its Conservation from class 12 biology. Let's see the explanation. Causes of biodiversity loss. The accelerated species extinctions that the world is facing now are largely due to human activities. There are 4 major causes. The evil quartet is one of them to use to describe them. In recent years, ex-situ conservation has advanced beyond keeping threatened to the species in enclosures. Now, gametes of threatened species can be preserved in viable and fertile conditions for the long period using cryopreservation as a technique. Familiar with the environmental damage caused and threat posed to our native species by invasive weed species like carrot grass, Parthenium, Lantana, and water hyacinth, also Ichordia. Some examples of recent extinctions included Dodo, Martius, Quagga, Africa, Thylacine, Australia, Steller sea cow, Russia. These are extinctions already extincted. Which of the following hormones released from the pituitary is actually synthesized in the hypothalamus? It is option 2, antidiuretic hormone ADH. This is the direct line and direct question from NCERT from the chapter named Chemical Coordination, okay, from biology class 11. You can see the NCERT here. Neurohypophysis paranervosa, also known as posterior pituitary, stores and releases 2 hormones, oxytocin and vasopressin. This is our answer, ADH, nothing but, which actually synthesized by hypothalamus and transported axonally to neurohypophysis. Yeah, you can also say this as a nervosa paranervosa. Role of water vascular system in echinoderms. This question is from the chapter named Animal Kingdom. Okay, let's see this. The vascular system role in echinoderms: respiration and locomotion, excretion and locomotion, capture of food and transport of food, digestion and respiration, digestion and excretion. And it is only 2: respiration and locomotion, capture and transport of food. It used it for respiration, for breathing purpose, for locomotion, transportation, capture and transport of food. It's so A and C the answer. It is option 2. This is about echinoderms, NCERT, Animal Kingdom. The most distinctive features of the echinoderms in the presence of water vascular system, which helps in locomotion, capture and transport of food and respiration. Every line of NCERT is very much important. You should mug up it. You should know every line. You should read it. There is no shortcuts in biology nowadays. Which of the following type of immunity is present at the time of birth and is non-specific type of defense in the human body? And the option is 2 is the answer, innate immunity. This question is from chapter named Human Health, class 12 biology. Here, innate immunity is a non-specific type of defense that is present at the time of birth. You can read the NCERT related to the topic immunity in from human health. In bryophytes, this is from the chapter named Plant Kingdom. Okay, in bryophytes, the gamma helps in which of the following? The structure gamma caps helps in asexual reproduction in bryophytes. Okay, so it is option 2 is the answer. You can see here asexual reproduction in liverworts, it is under bryophytes NCERT from Plant Kingdom chapter. Asexual reproduction in liverworts takes place by fragmentation of thalli and formation of specialized structures called gamma. Gamae or gamma. Gamae are green multicellular asexual buds which develops into small receptors called gamma caps located on thalli or thallus. Gamae become detached from the parent body and germinate to form new individuals. In frog, the renal portal system is a special venous connection that acts to link kidney and lower part of a body. So option 4 is the answer. It used to link kidney and lower part of the body. The renal portal system is a special venous connection that acts link between kidney and lower part of the body. This question is from the chapter Structural Organisms in class 11 biology and the topic frog. Here you can see this NCERT para is taken from structural organisms in animals. The special venous connection between the liver and intestine as well as the kidney and the lower part of the body are present in the frog. The former is hepatoportal system and they also known as a renal portal system. Okay, from here you can read this. In ecosystem, there is unidirectional flow of energy of sun from producers to consumers. Yes, it is right. Statement 2 is correct. Statement 2. Ecosystems are exempted from second law of thermodynamics. Sorry, it is wrong. Statement 2 is incorrect. So, statement 1 is right and statement 2 is incorrect. Option 3 is the answer. 1 is correct, 2 is incorrect. This question is from chapter named Ecosystem and class 12 biology. You can see here ecosystems are not exempt from the second law of thermodynamics. They need a constant supply of energy to synthesize the molecules they require to counteract the universal tendency towards increasing disorderliness. Here you can see the unidirectional flow from producers to consumers. Which of the following statements about Rubisco is true? It is active only in dark. Wrong. It is actively participates in light dependent reactions. So this statement is wrong. It has higher affinity for oxygen than carbon dioxide. This is also wrong. It has higher affinity for CO2 than oxygen. Okay. It is an enzyme involved in photolysis of water. This is wrong. Actually, in photolysis of water is catalyzed by oxygen evolving complex, not this. On the other hand, Rubisco actually involved in carbon fixation, okay, not in photolysis of water. So, actually the answer is 4 because 1, 2, 3 are wrong. It catalyzed the carboxylation of Rubisco. Yes, fourth option is correct. So, answer is 4. This question is from the chapter named Photosynthesis in higher plants from class 11 biology. Here you can see carboxylation is most crucial step of Calvin cycle where CO2 is utilized for the carboxylation of Rubisco. This reaction is catalyzed by enzyme RUBP carboxylase which results in the formation of two molecules of 3-PGA. Since this enzyme also has oxygenation activity, it could be more correct to call it RUBP carboxylase oxygenase means or Rubisco. Here I am calling it as RUBP, but the full form is ribulose 1,5 bisphosphate. Rubisco has a much greater affinity for carbon dioxide when CO2 and O2 ratio are unequal. It will be move towards CO2. It has more efficiency or more affinity for carbon dioxide. Okay. Which of the following enzymes are not essential for gene cloning? A. Restriction enzymes, DNA ligase, DNA mutase, DNA recombinase, DNA polymerase. Choose the correct answer for the options given below. We have to find out not essential for gene cloning. Restriction enzymes are important for gene cloning, DNA ligase is important, and DNA polymerase. And only C and D are not essential for gene cloning. So option 1 is the answer. This question is from the chapter named Biotechnology Principles and Processes, Class 12 Biology. Let's see them in detail. The enzyme essential for gene cloning are restriction enzyme. It recognizes a specific sequence of nucleotide in double-stranded DNA and cuts the DNA at a specific location. Next, DNA ligase. They join broken pieces of DNA strand together during DNA replication. DNA polymerase. They look at the function by replicating DNA by synthesizing new DNA strands using existing DNA strands as a template. DNA mutase and DNA recombinase are not essential for gene cloning, as DNA mutase are enzymes that catalyze the movement of a functional group within a single molecule, respectively rearranging the molecular structure. DNA recombinase facilitates to open or exchange of DNA strands between two segments that share partially sequence homology. Parthenocarpy can be induced by auxins. Yeah, this is also right. Plant growth regulators, PGRs, can be involved in promotion as well as inhibition of growth. This is also right. They can promote and can inhibit the growth. Dedifferentiation is a prerequisite for redifferentiation. Prerequisite means here prior condition, afferent. Abscisic acid is a plant growth promoter. Sorry, it's a blunder. It is wrong. Okay. It is not a plant growth promoter. Apical dominance promotes the growth of a lateral buds. It actually inhibits the lateral buds. So A, B, C are right. Only D and E are wrong. Last two are wrong. This question is from the chapter named Plant Growth and Development from class 11 Biology. Plant Physiology, last chapter. Yeah, first statement. It is true. Auxins can be induced parthenocarpy, formation of seedless fruits. Okay. Next, second statement also true. Plant growth regulators can involved in promotion as well as inhibition of growth. Next, third statement also true. Dedifferentiation is necessary before a cell can redifferentiate. Dedifferentiation should be necessary before redifferentiation. So 1, 2, 3 are right. And fourth one is incorrect because abscisic acid is a growth inhibitor, not a promoter. Okay, so this is wrong. And E, this is also incorrect. Apical dominance in auxins inhibits the lateral growth, but here he told that it promotes the lateral growth, so it is also incorrect. It actually inhibits, it stops the lateral growth. So A, B, C are correct. Option 1 is the answer. Which factor is important for termination of transcription? It is option 3, Rho is the answer. This question is from the chapter named Molecular Basis of Inheritance from the class 12 Biology. Here you can see the NCERT. Initiation factor is sigma and termination factor is rho to initiate and terminate the transcription respectively. From this, the question is being asked. From the chapter Molecular Basis of Inheritance, very much high weightage of chapter. Every year at least 6 to 10 bits. Damn sure you should compulsory read this chapter. line to line. Frogs respire in water by skin, buccal cavity, and on land by skin, buccal cavity, and lungs. Choose the correct answer. The statement is true for water but false for land. The statement is true for both environment. The statement is false for water but true for land. Yeah, this is the answer, because the frogs respires in water by only using the skin, named cutaneous respiration. Cutaneous respiration, but not buccal cavity. So this is false for skin, true for land. In land, respires through skin, buccal cavity, and lungs. So true for land, false for water. Okay. This question is from the chapter Structural Organisms from the class 11 biology. Here, frogs respires in water by skin, also named as cutaneous respiration, where on land it is used by buccal cavity, skin, and lungs, acts as a respiratory organs. About frog, you can read about in your NCERT. Twins are born to a family that lives next door to you. The twins are boy and a girl. Which of the following must be true? They are monozygotic. No, wrong. Monozygotic means both the twins will be either a boy or a girl. Here, both boy and a girl. So, it must be fraternal twins. Let's see. In this question, the twins are given are boy and a girl. This shows these are developed from two separate fertilized eggs. Therefore, each have individual sperm and a ovum. This type of twins are fraternal twins or dizygotic twins. Monozygotic or dizygotic. Learn the difference. Which of the following microbes is not involved in the preparation of household product? Okay, not involved in household. Aspergillus niger, lactobacillus, trichoderma polysporum, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, Propionibacterium shermanii. And it will be option A and C are not involved in preparation of households. Aspergillus niger, Trichoderma polysporum. Aspergillus niger used industrially for citric acid production. Okay. And lactobacillus used in our house for conversion of milk to curd. Trichoderma polysporum. It actually used for immunosuppressive drugs. Cyclosporin A, not a household product. Saccharomyces cerevisiae. This is a baking yeast and also used in alcohol fermentation. In our household also we will bake some cakes and all. So this also comes in a household product. Propionibacterium shermanii. This is used in cheese production. This comes in cheese production. Aspergillus niger is a industrial process for citric acid. So it is not a household. Lactobacillus used in our houses to convert milk to curd. So it is household. B is household. Trichoderma polysporum. Actually, it is an immunosuppressant, cyclosporin A. It is not a household one. Next, Saccharomyces cerevisiae. It's a baking yeast or baking alcoholic fermentation. It can be a household. Propionibacterium shermanii. It is a cheese. So A and C are not household. This is from the chapter Microbes in Human Welfare, class 12 biology. Very much important. This chapter is very much important. At least 2 or 3 questions are asked every year. You can see the microbes NCERT. Yeast, Saccharomyces cerevisiae used as a commercial production of ethanol, and Aspergillus niger, it is a fungus of citric acid. Lactobacillus, bacterium of lactic acid, and you can see here cyclosporin A, suppressive agent for organ transplant patients. Yeah, you can read this. Progesterone progesterone is secreted by corpus luteum. 4. Relaxin. Relaxin is a hormone especially secreted only in pregnancy by ovaries. Melanocyte stimulating hormone MSH. It is secreted directly by paramintermedia with and catecholamines. It is an adrenal medullary hormone. 3. 4213 is the sequence and option 2 sorry. It is 4213. Option 1 is the answer. Sorry. Here. Progesterone is secreted from corpus luteum. Relaxin is secreted from ovary only during pregnancy. Melanocyte stimulating hormone is secreted from paraintermediate. Adrenal medullary secrete two hormones called adrenaline or epinephrine and noradrenaline or norepinephrine. These are commonly called catecholamines. Thank you. The blue and white selectable markers has been developed which differentiate recombinant colonies from non-recombinant colonies on basis of their ability to produce color in presence of a chromogenic substrate. Given below are the two statements about this method. Statement 1. The blue colored colonies have DNA insert in the plasmid and they are identified as a recombinant colonies. Sorry, it is wrong, incorrect. Statement 2. The colonies without blue color have DNA insert in plasmid are identified as a recombinant colonies. This is true. So, statement 1 is incorrect, statement 2 is correct. When the plasmid is inserted in the DNA, it doesn't produce any color. So, the colonies without the blue color have DNA in the plasmid. Simple. When the plasmid has a DNA inserted in it, when the DNA is inserted in the plasmid, it doesn't produces any color. So, statement 2 is correct, statement 1 is incorrect. You can read this NCERT topic from the chapter named Biotechnology Principles and Processes, class 12 biology, NCERT. Yeah, read here. Which one of the following equation represents Verhulst-Perel logistic growth of population? And it is option 2 is the answer. Actually, it's directly given from NCERT. You can see here. Under logistic growth from the chapter organism and population. Here K represents carrying capacity. K represents carrying capacity. N means population size, where R represents intrinsic rate of natural increase, and dn by dt means rate of change in population size. Okay, N represents population size, K represents carrying capacity, and R represents intrinsic growth, intrinsic rate of natural increase. This one is answer.